You know, you love them, and I have always wanted to build a tank.
Panzerkampfwagen 3.
But there are 3 things holding me back. But that's what video games are for. I'm going to be playing Besiege, a medieval-styled building game. However, in the same way Minecraft proves that the children yearn for the mines, Besiege shows that the children yearn for Lockheed Martin. My goal today is not to build the best tank. You should watch someone else for that, but to build a realistic tank. Let me break it down for you. Mechanically, a tank can be split into 2 parts, the turret and the main body. The turret holds gun stuff, and the main body holds drivetrain stuff. In each section, the cannon will consume ammunition, while the engine will consume fuel. Now, both of these resources can be infinite in Besiege, but that's lame and unrealistic and lame. So here's my plan. Build a tank in Besiege that actually consumes ammunition and fuel with designs inspired by real life. Let's start with the tracks. Now, most Besiege tanks will simply have all wheels in a track powered by magic. However, in real life, usually only the drive sprocket receives power directly from the engine. Other wheels on a tank include the road wheels, which have suspension as they bear the weight of the tank. The idler idles and the return rollers support the returning track. Here's my version of this in Besiege. It's still propelled by magic, but I'm happy with its resemblance to real life. These tiny armor plates on the track create a well for the wheels, and a similar tactic can be seen on the Sherman. There are also wide circular plates on the idler wheels to prevent the track from falling off. However, one deviation from real life is the use of pistons for both road wheel suspension and to tension the track. On real tanks, it is usually the idler wheel that is adjusted to tension the tracks. But I was satisfied with these tracks and moved on to the engine. Now, as I mentioned before, this tank needs to be consuming fuel, and there is a block in Besiege that contains fuel. The flamethrower, which not only spits lit hydrocarbons, but is limited with only 10 seconds of ignition time. Combining these flames with a water gun helps to produce power, but I'm not exactly looking to make a steam engine, although there was a tank powered by steam. So, with the No Bounds mod, I gave the water guns negative power, so that no water or steam was produced. Like their normal counterparts, these negative power water guns do still output thrust when unheated, but produce far more thrust when heated. I actually have a decent steam engine I've built before that I decided to convert. Not only did I flip the water guns, but made the whole engine more compact and switched these bulky sensors for length sensors to communicate when the water guns should fire. I connected the engine to the tracks through 2:1 reductions and a pretty shabby transmission system, and it works fine. It won't win any races or beauty contests, but that's okay. I'm also using infinite ammo on the flamethrowers, but we'll develop a fuel system in the future. One thing I did notice is its difficulty in turning when using both tracks. Although a little inefficient, I found that the safest way to turn was to reverse one of the tracks. Let's move on to the autoloader. For this, I'm actually going to be reusing the design from my most viewed video, which happens to be a YouTube short. Its rotating magazine is synonymous to Soviet-styled autoloaders and it looks pretty cool. But is it actually good? Well, no, because it's essentially impossible to aim this top portion without moving the entire mechanism with it, which, with how heavy it is, would be a nightmare. So I redesigned the top portion with this swiveling piece. The idea is to have this section at the center of the rotating turret, so that no matter what position the turret is in, it can reliably feed ammunition without the need of moving this heavy base section. I built a prototype turret to demonstrate this concept, and it works like 2/3 of the time. There are 2 glaring issues. First, this weird crane thing is very stupid. Not only would it make the exterior of the turret way too tall, but it's just another overcomplication when I could simply push the ammunition up like I did in the original design. Second, this turret ring is hot garbage. It's made of wood, these rollers aren't properly level with the ring, and there aren't enough contact points. Additionally, it's just not a good idea to make a ring of rollers. This is because they're essentially spinning cylinders and are only good at moving in straight directions. Attempting to turn them around a point tries to spin the inner portion of the cylinder slower than the outer portion, since they're at different radii. This is why in real life, spinning rings use ball bearings with hypothetical point contacts instead of cylinders. So let's fix both of these issues. With this new design, feeding is much more reliable. Despite still having only 4 contact points with the ring, these cogs fit snugly into the rollers and smoothly accelerate and decelerate. This avoids any jerky motions that can shake the main gun, leading to this smooth horizontal rotation. However, I want to give credit where credit is due and say that this turret ring design is not from me. I actually saw it on the Besiege Discord from a user called Nel Bayasi, who made it with the original idea by a user named Onion. In addition, the idea for the 2-to-1 reduction on the drivetrain was also taught to me by a user called Verm, the living encyclopedia of Besiege. Of course, his design is still a million times better than my terrible rendition. Overall, the Besiege Discord is an incredible place to learn from other builders, and if you're not already in it, I highly suggest you join. Anyways, this turret is still missing something seen on every tank, a protruding barrel, which I can't just directly attach, since the feeding mechanism doesn't accurately align cannons consistently enough to avoid shooting the barrel off. So, in classic fashion, I further overcomplicated the design by having the cannons pushed down the barrel. This serves no purpose, other than that this build would look very weird without some kind of protruding barrel. I attached these pieces, added vertical rotation, and placed this sensor so that the swiveling section matches the vertical position of the barrel. Finally, I switched out the steering block for the turret ring design. The steering block may have seemed fine, but pin blocks are very deceiving, and my first attempt to attach this build to the drivetrain revealed how wobbly the magazine was, since it's essentially all balancing on a singular rotating point. Now that the turret mechanics are done, I can finally attach it to the drivetrain. And wow, this thing just looks great. It's time to finally deliver on that fuel system, for which I stacked a bunch of squished flamethrowers and had a bunch of timer blocks setting off each flamethrower in sequence. This system in total gives about 2 minutes of runtime. I experimented with putting on body panels, but this stupid transmission took up way too much space, so I replaced it with this smaller one using axles and grabbers instead of gears. This allowed me to finally put some body panels on it, but I quickly got lazy, and after placing a few armor plates, I made the rest using wooden surface blocks. Shortcuts aside, we finally have a working, realistic tank, and it's time to put it to the test. That's right, I'm hitting you with that 2-for-1 deal. Well, kinda. Here's the thing, that scene with the pillbox was very scripted, if you couldn't tell, mainly because the engine has a lot of problems. For example, it has a lot of blocks and braces that both kill my PC and add more joints to the build, increasing unwanted movement and unreliability. So, this tank destroyer is my effort to not only simplify, but also improve, based on advice I received from you guys and from the Besiege Discord. Unfortunately, I couldn't finish it in time, as I have many upcoming exams I need to start studying for. So, if you want to see a part 2, or something else, let me know in the comments. Additionally, I want to apologize for the slow upload schedule, as engineering is unfortunately hard. So I'm hoping to upload once every 2 months until I graduate. If you want to see more content like this, check out this video and subscribe. Thanks for watching.